He makes a good point, Emily. Basically what he's saying is, why don't we blame the illegal immigrants? Why don't we blame the system that created this? After all, we all but recruit them to come to this country, and then when they get here, we give them a tax ID number so that we can garnish their wages. So is it them really at fault, or is the system screwed up?
Well, anybody who's coming to this country illegally is breaking the law. So anyone who's hiring them is also breaking the law. Most immigrants, I think, have come or easily could apply for visas, get in the line, get in the system, just like the system is set up. It's not that complicated. I mean, it's that complicated, but instead they're sneaking across the border. That's not. You don't blame the person who's hiring them. You blame the person who's breaking the law. Well, anybody who's coming to this country illegally is breaking the law. So anyone who's hiring them is also breaking the law. It's not. You don't blame the person who's hiring them. You blame the person who's breaking the law. We don't blame the person, who's gotten murdered.
Really, you don't blame,
we blame the murderer.
Wait a minute. You don't blame them. You don't blame the. You think
I
the
don't think
system's
that's the
fine?
cause of the problem.
Well, hold on a minute.
The problem is the main problem is our border. Our borders are not secure. Our borders are not secure.
Correct.
And they need to be secured. And
they'll tell you that you cannot have border security unless you start cracking down on employers in the interior.
Let's get Ruben a chance to get in here. Ruben?
Yeah,
sir?
it's always easy for people who don't live near the border, far away villages like Washington, D.C., to think about securing the border. The border is not so easily secured. You build a wall, you build a fence, people build a tunnel to go underneath it. Folks who live on border states have a much more realistic idea of what it takes to control the border, and it starts with hiring. If you go down and talk to border patrolmen in green shirts with guns, and that's what needs to happen in Arizona. Arizonans want to be free to blame this situation on somebody else. They created this problem.
Emily, let me ask you a question. Why do you want to get rid of all illegal immigrants?
I'm not calling to get rid of all the illegal immigrants.
What would you do?
This is a country. We are a nation of immigrants. Every one of us did not come from here.
Okay, what would you do? What would you do with the 11,000 or so illegal immigrants in this country right now? If you had to fix the problem tomorrow, what do you do with those people?
Well, Rick, I wish it was 11,000. I think it's more like 11 million.
Yeah, I'm going with the short estimate. You can go with 19 million.
Well, 11,000, they can all come live with me.
I'm
yeah,
sorry. I misspoke.
We can put them all in an apartment building here in D.C. and the whole problem would be resolved.
I meant millions. What do you do with them?
Yeah, I know. Well, look, it's obviously the reason this issue and why reform went down 2 years or in 2007 is we do need to do immediately is stop this flow, because it's really complicated what we're going to do with all these people who are legally in the United States, and we can't have them jump the line for people who are waiting legally and trying to get into this country. However,
they'll tell you that you cannot have border security unless you start cracking down on employers in the interior.
And we need comprehensive immigration reform because we got those issues.
These are non-tax-paying people. These are non-tax-paying people, and it's not fair to the immigrants.
Wait. That's a lie. They are tax-paying people.
What's a lie?
Emily, do they buy something at the store?
Yeah.
When they buy something at the store, are they taxed? My job on this show is to make sure people hear the truth. And I will tell you right now, there's a lot of problems with illegal immigration and a lot of things that we need to deal with, and we need comprehensive immigration reform because we got those issues. And I want to secure the borders, and I want bad illegal immigrants to be kicked out of the country. I think everybody wants that. That's not speaking, that's just talking like an American. But when you come on my show and you say that they don't pay taxes, that's a lie.
These are non-tax-paying people.
You gotta get in on this?
I was sitting at home before I on the show trying to get through TurboTax.
Right.
Are you telling me that 11 million people out there are also filling out their forms?
They're actually wait. I could even take it a step further.
And is the other homework the government is giving us?
I could take it a step further for you, Emily. They actually pay property taxes because they have to have a place to live, unless they live under a bridge. They have to pay sales taxes because they have
Yeah,
rent.
You pay property taxes.
When you pay rent, you pay property taxes.
Right.
They also have to pay sales tax because they buy things to feed their children. And yes, there's a tax ID number that's deducted from their payroll, so they pay Social Security tax, although they'll never get a penny of Social Security taxes. And yet, Americans get billions of dollars that they get into their Social Security as a result of the immigrants who pay into it.
Well, you also haven't mentioned, which Yeah, no, I will. We do need to do immediately is stop this flow. We do need to do immediately is stop this flow. We do need to do immediately is stop this flow. But I will cede you that, but also not mentioning that most people are not paying illegal immigrants payroll taxes or their Social Security taxes. But so these people aren't.
That's a good
they're
point.
being paid less than minimum wage. They're not getting health insurance. They're not being treated fairly either.
You're
But
right.
what we need, but all of this is like there's so much that needs to be worked out in immigration reform. It's not going to happen. Immigration reform. It's not going to happen.
Ruben, your turn. I'm sorry.
Also, this notion that somehow, listen, my way of background, I've written before, it's a matter of public record, in favor of workplace raids, in favor of deportations. But this notion somehow that there's a line people can get into, it's just not so. If you talk to immigration lawyers and you ask them basically how does one come to the country if you're unskilled and poor from a country like Mexico, it's virtually impossible, if not impossible. This is not to excuse people who come in, but this notion somehow, this Pollyannish notion that you need to go back and start get in line. There is no line, Emily.
We can have them jump the line.
There is no line, Emily.
We can have them jump the line.
There is no line, Emily.
But there are just as much. Do you know there's also so many people who are in Iraq right now who've worked for American contractors, worked for the American military, whose lives are threatened or getting killed, and they are on the list as well, and they want to get in the United States. And shouldn't it all be fair? I mean, you know, they are living not just in poverty; they're living.
Emily, the system isn't fair. The system isn't fair because back in 1965, when they reformed the immigration laws, they made these quotas per country and decided that you should have a greater allotment for a country like Mexico because it's on the border than for Iraq. That's Congress's deal. That's what they did. But this notion somehow, blissful in our ignorance, that we can somehow go back to the front of the line or go to the line. There is no line.
But
people
Emily,
come in because this is the only way they can.
But Ruben, Emily is 100% right.
We need.
If we can come up with a system where we can screen and determine who gets to come in and who doesn't, under what conditions, who gets to stay and who doesn't, we as a nation will be a hell of a lot better off. Instead of just
absolutely.
having political arguments about it all the time.
Absolutely.
I mean, she is right.